Once, in the time when the Blessed One, the Buddha, wandered across the villages of ancient India, spreading wisdom and compassion, a young man approached him with deep restlessness in his heart. This man was well-educated, strong in body, and filled with ambition. But despite his talents, he lived in constant suffering. His mind was never at peace. His thoughts ran like wild horses, always pulling him toward the past with regrets or toward the future with anxieties. The young man bowed before the Buddha and said, "Master, I have everything that people usually seek: work, family, and health, but still I feel a deep emptiness inside. My mind is restless, filled with endless thoughts. I cannot concentrate on my work, nor can I enjoy the present moment. Please tell me, how can I change my life?" Buddha looked into the young man's eyes with infinite compassion. He did not speak immediately, but instead motioned for him to follow. Together with a few disciples, they walked toward the nearby river that flowed gently through the valley. When they reached the bank, Buddha handed the young man a wooden bowl and said, "Go and bring me some water from this river." The young man obeyed and walked to the river. But just as he reached, a bullock cart crossed the shallow waters, stirring up mud and sand. The water became cloudy and filled with dirt. The young man dipped the bowl and brought the muddy water back to the Buddha. "Here it is, Master," he said. "But the water is not fit to drink. It is dirty." The Buddha looked at the bowl and then said calmly, "Put it down. Let it rest on the ground." However the tame, she had the fang of the spend. The young man was confused. How would this help? But he did as instructed. The bowl of muddy water was placed on the ground. Time passed. The group sat quietly under the shade of a tree. The young man's restless mind began to grow impatient. He thought, "Why is the Buddha making me wait? What is the meaning of this test?" After a while, the Buddha asked him to pick up the bowl and look again. The man lifted it carefully. To his surprise, the mud had settled at the bottom, and the water had become clear. Buddha smiled and asked, "Do you see? You did not have to struggle with the mud. You did not have to filter it with force. You only allowed it to be still, and in time, clarity returned naturally. This is the way of the mind." The young man's eyes widened. He suddenly felt as if the Buddha was speaking directly about his inner world. Buddha continued, "When your mind is restless, when thoughts are clouded with anger, desire, and fear, do not fight them. Do not struggle to push them away. Simply sit, breathe, and observe. Just as the river settles when left undisturbed, so too will your mind. And when the mind is clear, wisdom shines through." The young man asked, "But Master, my thoughts are so strong. Whenever I try to meditate, they come like storms. How can I remain calm when the storm is so powerful?" Buddha gently replied, "Storms come, but they do not last. Clouds may cover the sun, but the sun is never gone. In the same way, your thoughts are temporary visitors. Do not chase them, do not resist them. Watch them as you would watch clouds drifting across the sky. This watching is mindfulness, and mindfulness changes life because it gives you freedom. You are no longer controlled by your thoughts. You become the witness, the master." Hearing this, the young man closed his eyes for a few moments. He noticed his breath moving in and out. He noticed his mind trying to run toward thoughts of the past and future. But instead of reacting, he simply observed. Slowly, he felt a new silence growing inside him. Small, fragile, but real. Tears filled his eyes as he opened them and bowed at the Buddha's feet. "Master, I understand now. For the first time in my life, I touched a moment of peace. I see that the power to change my life was always within me. I was only searching outside." The Buddha placed his hand gently on the young man's head and said, "Mindfulness is the key. With mindfulness, even the busiest life becomes peaceful. Without mindfulness, even the most comfortable life becomes restless. Remember, your mind can be your greatest enemy or your greatest friend. Train it with awareness, and it will become your path to liberation. From that day forward, the young man practiced mindfulness daily. At first, his restless thoughts returned again and again, but now he did not resist them. He allowed them to come and go, watching like a silent witness. Gradually, his storms lost their power. People in his village soon noticed the change. He was calmer, kinder, and more present in every task he did. Where once he was lost in worries, now he smiled easily. Where once he was distracted, now he listened deeply. He realized that mindfulness was not something to practice only in meditation, but something to live every moment while eating, walking, speaking, or even resting. Months later, when he met the Buddha again, he bowed and said, "Master, mindfulness has transformed my life. I now see beauty in small things, the sound of the river, the laughter of children, the feeling of breath within me. My mind, which was once my prison, has now become my freedom." The Buddha smiled knowingly and said, "This is the miracle of mindfulness. It does not change the world outside you, it changes the way you experience the world. And when your inner world changes, life itself becomes a blessing." Moral of the story: mindfulness is not about controlling thoughts or forcing the mind into silence. It is about observing with patience and awareness, allowing restlessness to settle naturally. Just as muddy water clears when left undisturbed, so too does the mind. Through mindfulness, peace, clarity, and transformation blossom within.